JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So when is the PPP loan forgiveness application actually due? Okay, actually it's due at the maturity of the loan. When is that? 5 years from when you got it. Well, no one's going to wait that long to put in for forgiveness, but what I want to make clear here is that's how long the SBA gives you to file for forgiveness, and then they pay the bank. Now, no one would wait that long, right? Because what happens if you don't file for forgiveness? Well, it's the second thing I want you to know, is that payments will start if you don't put in for forgiveness or you don't get forgiveness. It'll be your covered period plus 10 months. So you take your disbursement date plus the 24 weeks covered period plus 10 months. That's when payments start. Many think that's when the application is due. So I'm being very technical with you, but the reason I'm being technical with you is to bring a little bit of stress relief here. Because many banks are saying, well, if you don't get it in, you're going to not get forgiveness. Or if you don't get it in by the time we reach this date, you're not going to get forgiveness. Well, that would only be true if they're talking 5 years from the date that you got PPP, that the SBA would not give you forgiveness. Because it's not the bank that decides if you get forgiven, it's the SBA. Now, let's be clear. When you're talking about your 24 weeks plus 10 months, that's a long time. So if you got it in 2020, you probably are needing to go ahead and file for forgiveness because you are probably in payment time and you probably already have put in for PPP loan forgiveness if you got it in 2020. Now for 2021, I'm not advising that you wait 5 years. I'm not even advising that you wait 10 months. What I just want to let you know is that you have time, that's all. You have time. So get your PPP loan application in when you have the documentation put together. You should have hit your 24 weeks by now, and then you have time to go ahead and put your PPP loan application in. Don't do it under a rush or scared or stressed because you don't want to misstep and then potentially maybe not have something or some amount not forgiven. So when is the PPP loan application due? When we're talking about a due date, 5 years from when you get the loan. When do payments start on a PPP loan, assuming you don't put in an application for forgiveness? 24 weeks from the date of disbursement plus 10 months. That's when payments start. So it does seem logical that you would get your PPP loan application in before that time period so you don't have to make any payments. But if you start making payments for whatever reason and then it's forgiven, the SBA pays the entire amount of whatever was due to the bank. You're in a position where you are the customer of your bank. Your bank should not be bullying you at this point to put in your PPP loan forgiveness application, and they're being a little bit aggressive, some of them. When you're now looking at the PPP loan application, what you want to be sure of, and the most important part, is the amount of payroll that you're indicating for achieving for forgiveness, because that amount has to be at least 60% of whatever it is that you're asking for loan forgiveness. So here's your loan. Here's the amount you're asking for forgiveness. Hopefully they're the same amount, right? So if your PPP loan was $100,000 and you're saying, I want $100,000 of forgiveness, well, there is a line item that says, well, how much did you spend on payroll on any version of the application? Well, it needs to be at least 60% of whatever it is that you're asking for forgiveness. So in that example, it need to be at least $60,000 to achieve forgiveness, right? You'd have to have the other expenses. All I'm saying is this: don't rush yourself, then not get forgiveness because you have time. All right, hey, I've got a whole playlist on PPP loan forgiveness. I'll put a link in the body of the video for you here, and I really appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.